100 nights, no rest, no break. Dreams on my mind, but my hands still ache. Bands in the safe, cash on the low. Build it from the ground, watch the empire grow. Empty fridge, now the table stacked. Used to pray for change, now I'm counting racks. The grind don't stop, no pause, no wait. Bands in the safe, that's my fate.
Hello everybody, how's it going? Hope you're all doing well. We made it to Friday, just about. Sorry for no video yesterday. I was not feeling at all well in the evening, so I skipped it. But we're back today, and a nice finish to the week, because it was a difficult week. I know the feeling. It is never easy when you're watching your account just slowly just trickle down into more and more drawdown day after day. But this happens in trading. You know, you have to be able to stomach that uncomfortable feeling that comes with this environment from time to time. But today was a good day. Today was a good day, and I've got a theory to show you. Well, in fact, I've got a lot to show you. We're going to cover the tests I've been doing, the results we got for the week, of course, because despite being red all week, we managed to pull it back into the green at the last minute. Well done. So we're going to talk about all of that. I'm also going to let you know about the update, because this weekend, big changes are happening. Big changes. I am putting out an update either tonight or tomorrow. That means cross trade will no longer work with Delta Breaks. We are migrating away from cross trade. We're not going to use NinjaTrader anymore. NinjaTrader proved itself to be garbage. It just was so unreliable. It gave me nothing but problems since we started using it. And the fixes weren't fixing things. So it's like, there's only so much you can do in that situation. So we're moving over to a new platform that is cloud-based, so it's actually all going to be a lot easier. I've talked about it in some of my previous videos. It's called Pick My Trade. I haven't had any issues with it all week, except for one. One popped up in the last couple of days, but I've already spoken to their tech team about it, and they're looking into it for me because it's a feature on their end. Basically, the trade expiry hasn't been expiring and removing the trades. So I can work with that. I can build in and have built in an emergency close it just in case for now. But that I might be able to just remove that because it was working for a bunch of days and it just kind of stopped yesterday. So anyway, without going into too much of that, we'll come to that when we come to it. Let's go in and have a look at the chart today. So here are the results for today. Finally some green, right? Great Asia. 22, nearly 2300. London again did well, and that daily trail man coming in clutch all three sessions, and we even managed to get a green on New York. New York has really struggled this week, and I, like I said, have a theory, and I'm going to show it to you. Ignore the extra dashboards. I know, kind of layering it up there. We'll come back to that in a second. I want to show you something in here. I'm going to make this large so we can see it. So this is my countdown indicator. Let's put this over here. Here we go. So this week we had these pretty high impact news events. This, along with things like FOMC and interest rates at the moment, with the way the market's been for the last couple of months, it's kind of like hanging on a knife edge every time some major news comes around. And today we had non-farm employment. And like basically when these sort of job numbers are coming out, I think that's a big part of why we've been seeing such lackluster performance from this system, and why it's not really been doing what it normally does. And the last time we had one of these big red weeks was in the middle of May, or the earlier half of May, and I don't remember exactly which one it was, but it was around about a high impact news week. It was one week where there was a bunch of news that the market, for whatever reason, decided to really kind of cling to, and it wanted to know what happened. I think that's what's happened this week, and I think that was NFP. Non-farm employment change today. Because the reason I say that, there was, where is it? It's in here somewhere. Here we go. Here it is. Looks small just because of the huge sell-off we had, but see this big wick up candle there, just above London and Asia, and we went down and we just kept selling off and kept selling off. And then we finally went down and cleared that huge 600 tick range. We went into both of the weekly points of control, and we're just finally selling off. Let's go out. Let me get rid of this. We don't need it now. Look at the sell-off today. Finally, we are moving And we're leaving some gaps up the top. I don't think the bull run is over. I think this is the long overdue healthy pullback that is needed. You can see I have my isolator. I long ago isolated these regions down here with the previous month. I don't know if we'll get there. We might just come down to this region, maybe clear out this gap here, which is this point of control. We may come down to these ones. Let's see what the more classic fibs say is going on here. Yeah, I can see it. We could come all the way back to the 50%, and that's right smack bang in the middle of here. So that's perfectly fine, right? I mean, look at what we've done. We need to chill out. We need to calm down. And an absolute monster of a sell-off today. Look at it. And I think it's not a coincidence, I should say, that the system has kind of struggled in these last couple of topping days before we get a big sell-off after the last bit of news on non-farm employment, because there's huge recession fears. Unemployment change and employment data basically is a huge part of that. Now, I personally don't think there's actually that much in it. Some parts of the market wait for it, absolutely, but I don't believe it actually drives these things. This sell-off was going to happen anyway. I think the news events are used as excuses to explain them away. Same with my opinions of basically the same thing when it comes to cycles. I think cycles are in control. So, but there's undeniable, look, we finally had our sell-off and it's just gone down, 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 down all day. Finally, right? And I wouldn't be surprised if we kind of go back to a bit more of normality now and we finally start getting some movement. And yeah, that's my theory. I'm going to stick to it for now. And we'll see. It might mean that when we go into the dev bench, I'm going to talk to you about the test results, because the test results have been really interesting. I've got an update there to show you as well. So I'm just going to make that small and get rid of this guy. But yeah, let's go back to talking about, let's go look at the results and we'll come back to the tests and stuff in a second. Here we go. We're finally back in the green, $115. Hooray. Now, I've added a few little details into here. So firstly, I get it. When we go in red, 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 yes, it's uncomfortable. You got to just stick with it. There are no perfect systems. You have to just stomach it, unfortunately. It's just one of those things. But today, like what took 4 days to come down was reclaimed in one single day, right? And this is just June. I've added a few details here into this, into these results that we're going to look at here. So I'll point them out for you. First one is here, from peak to low drawdown. So this is like what your trailing drawdown in a prop firm would be. Like for me, I run the 150Ks. I've got 4,500 drawdown. I still had headroom. I had $1,000 left. And if you're running a 50K, you proportionally get more than what I get on a 150K. So if it works on a 150K, it works on a 50K with actual extra headroom. So we're all good. We're back in the green. Hooray. And here I've decided to add, because when we're like where we are now at the start of a new month, we kind of lose all of May's results. And it's easy to forget what the system is capable of doing. So I've added a 10 trading day rolling total. So we'll see this in the last 10 trading days, the last 2 weeks basically, this week and last week, still up $5,000, even with these red days, right? Even with this week being flat, we're still up $5,000 in the last 2 weeks. So I've added that in there just to kind of help keep things in perspective. And we'll look at this every day. I keep all these numbers updated. And that's where we are. We're back in the right direction, and it's a good way to kind of bring things back to, let's go look at the dev bench, because we had a good set of results. So I've been running 4 tests. I've also added a 5th one on here because one of the members is testing this one. I'll run it as well. Why not? But these are the main 4. This is retesting, for anyone who's new. The current settings do a trailing stop loss, and that's what exits the trades. There is no TP in the current settings. And in the old version of the indicator that was changed at the beginning of May, the old version had a mode in it that could do fixed TP and stop loss, and you could set what that was. And because the new version of the indicator is a lot more active, those old results don't really apply anymore. So we're redoing the test. This is a 15 take profit, 15 stop loss. Here is the current settings just fixed instead of being trail. So this is 15 and 15 TP, 20 stop loss. So slightly negative R, but there's a reason I do this. I'll explain that in a second as well. A slightly wider as well. So it's 20 and 20, 20 points TP, 20 stop loss. And this is a different type of settings. I was doing an earlier finish thing, but there's no point because it's not really what I'm going to do. It was just an idea. The new idea is running fixed 1200. 1200 max profit, 1200 max loss, and just seeing what happens. You can see here we hit 1200, 1200, and 0. This is more likely going to be the wildcard test moving forward. And over here we got 15 point take profit, 17 point take profit, and 15 point stop loss, which is just the same as 15, just slightly more, 2 points extra. So ever so slightly more made, but you can see here. I'm actually think I'm running different settings for it, but anyway, I've been messing around with some things. Anyway, let's go look at the results for this, because this is where things are really starting to get interesting. Because here's the first thing I'll say. During June, fixed take profits, these tests have significantly outperformed the trailing mode, the trailing stop loss mode, which is what is normal. However, in May, the trailing stop loss mode drastically, significantly outperformed fixed. So what I think has actually been happening is that we've had this market over the past week at the start of June here, where the market's kind of topped and rolled over, and it's now going into a long overdue pullback. And basically the past week of fixed being significantly better than the trail has been good temporarily, and actually the trailing stop loss is still the mode to go with. And it does lead to an interesting point though. If we're in a particularly high tension week, maybe a cycle low, or if we think we're at a cycle top, we have the option to go to fixed TP road. And this is something that we will have to just figure out and be subjective to ourselves. If you just like the idea of it and feel more comfortable, you can do it. But let's look at the actual results here, because I was most interested in looking at 15-15 or 20 and 20. I figured it'd be one of these two. But actually, it's turning out to be the 15 and 20, which is outperforming pretty much in every single way. For one, this is cool because it's actually the current settings that we already use. This would be one thing we change in the actual indicator itself if we wanted to flip between fixed and trailing mode. It's one thing. I'm going to show you some of the changes I've made there in a second. But test 2 is the best test by far. So over here, I've added one extra detail. I've added the peak to low drawdown. So replicating what your account's drawdown would be using this mode. So during this market topping week that we've had, we had on 15 and 15, a little over 1100 drawdown. On test 2, the 15 and 20, 670 drawdown. 20 and 20 did the worst by far. I went to nearly 4,300 drawdown. That was, 20 and 20 really struggled this past week. Kind of surprisingly how much it struggled actually. I was and 1200 and 1200, which is like the wild card, where there is no daily trails or anything like that. No, it's just straight. You hit max profit or you go break even, because there is one setting which is $800. If it goes to $800, you will not go negative. You'll go 0 on the day. And it's either 1200 or 1200. That didn't do too badly. It's done okay in profit, but it's just not winning, is it? So, we've done 7,600, but test 2, man, test 2, especially with the results of today, absolutely sent it today, but it was already doing well. That's the thing. Its drawdown was already the best. Its equity curve was already pretty smooth. Yes, it was red on occasion. All of them were red over the past couple of days. But yeah, as soon as things started going back into more, as soon as that news was out of the way, everything just started flying and going back to normal. So this is something I'm going to keep an eye on. When we have a high impact news week coming up and the market seems to be heading towards it, whether it be a cycle low or like what we've had this past week. We've also got like the SpaceX IPO coming up as well, which is a tech stock, which is it's going to heavily affect the Nasdaq. So what I'm wondering now is, do we pull back for a little bit, head back up a little bit, we pull back now, head back up towards the SpaceX IPO, fail to make a new high, and then we start rolling over or something? I don't know. Maybe it goes the other way, where we're doing the pullback now so that the SpaceX IPO can absolutely send it and just pump the Nasdaq to all new highs and keep it elevated for a little while before we start seeing a rollover. Maybe, I don't know. I'm speculating here. There's no point doing that. But it's unprecedented times. We have this historic run that goes on for weeks and weeks and weeks with no pullbacks. We break all kinds of records, and we've got the biggest IPO in history, and so much stuff's going on in the world. So much stuff. It's hard to keep track of it all, really. But anyway, without dwelling too much on these tests, where my headspace is right now is that the trailing mode, the mode we've been using, is still the better mode to use by quite a significant amount. However, we have this fixed mode now. In fact, let's go back to the dev bench. I'm going to show it to you because I've made some updates. I've made quite a lot of updates actually to the indicator. For one, I've completely swapped over all the cross trade data, and it now works with Pick My Trade. See? Pick My Trade it works the exact same way. You have what CrossTrade had a secret key. You now have a token. Exact same thing. It's a self-identifying thing. You put your account number that you want to trade in there, and everything else is basically going to be default. However, I'm going to walk you through the changes I've made. We now have, you can do fixed TP and stop losses, which this is what the tests are. So watch, these numbers will now change for New York. It will now change to the fixed test results, and the only thing I changed was this. So it's very easy, it's very convenient, and it's very simple to do. And things like the trailing stop loss points, you see it says runner only, it basically is disabled and bypassed. Look, there we go. You see today was really good in New York for fixed. Not all the time though, so don't assume just because one day it was good that it's always good. It's not. Trailing is still significantly the better way to do things. But you see how easy that is. I can just flip from one to the other. Now it takes a minute because it has to run. There we go. But yeah, down here, the other change that I've made is you can actually disable the trailing daily stop now. And we actually are going to do this with the new settings I'm going to be running. So the max consistency is your account's max consistency. We're actually going to do this on Pick My Trade. This weekend I'll be putting some videos together for the members, and I'll show you how to set it up. Super easy, guys. Way, way easier than CrossTrade and NinjaTrader were. In fact, we don't need NinjaTrader anymore. We're not using it. Pick My Trade is a browser website. Everything is done in there. It's super simple. So this, you could almost put it at 0. Honestly, you could actually put this at 0 if you wanted to. We don't necessarily use it anymore, but why not? Let's just keep it in there. It doesn't hurt to have it in there. And the daily trail is now going to be 1,200 and 0. What this is going to do is when you hit $1,200, you get a daily trail of starting at 0, which means as soon as you make $1,200 at peak profit, unrealized, even if the trade closes down or doesn't actually realize the money, doesn't matter. It's activated at 1,200 and it goes break even for the account. You will not lose any money in that session. But look at this, New York today, day profit 0. Why? Because we hit 1,200 and it gave it back and it went back to 0. Instead of letting the accounts make a bunch of money, like say 1,200, 1,100, $1,000 or whatever, and then go and give it back to the market, nah. We're just going to do a straight stop at 0 if that starts to happen. I've seen it too many times, and it often happens in the later part of the session. So if that starts to happen, we're just going to go break even. It's like, know what? This wasn't the session for us. Doesn't matter. We go again tomorrow. However, and it's got the disabled trailing. What it means is it does the exact same thing as it's been doing, except the trailing stop loss doesn't follow price up. You could disable this if you want, but I have it disabled on trigger 2 now. And the idea is here, there's one loss worth of a pullback here. So as soon as you hit 2,200, this might tweak, it might change. I haven't 100% decided. I still need to run a bit more data if I go into here. Let's go have a look. Yeah, let's go look at London here. What was I running? Yeah, so I'm running some slightly different numbers. You see 1200 and 0, but I've got 2300 and 2000. I might do this instead. So, but anyway, this is what I've currently got in there. It'll be around about the 2K mark, basically, is what I'm saying here. So you make 1200, you will not lose in that session. You make 2200, and if it stops anywhere in there, great. If it keeps going up, great. If it makes 2200, you're guaranteed at least 1800 of it. And the max loss is going to be 1200. And these are going to be the default settings. Like I did last time, I will make a PDF for 50K conversion settings. It's the exact same thing, just reduced by a third. Mostly a third. You go from 1 NQ contract to 4 MNQ contracts. I'll figure out the numbers for you guys, don't worry. And nothing else has changed. Everything else is the same. So that's the changes to the indicator. Very minor. Most of it's in the back end. It's just a different type of payload being delivered to pick my trade that I've been testing this week. But man, it's so much more reliable. I haven't had a single issue except for that one issue, which is the expired trades aren't being removed. And that's only started happening in the last day. And that is actually controlled on Pick My Trades side. So I've already spoken to their tech team. They're looking into it, and they're going to do one of two things. They're going to either fix it if they find a problem, which is probably what will happen, because it was working and then stopped. So they'll either fix it for us, which is great, because it was working for days, or they'll provide me information on why it's not working, and I'll be able to update the indicator on my side and correct the mistake. So either way, we'll get a solution. And as a bonus third option, I've already built in a safety net feature because CrossTrade did this. CrossTrade and NinjaTrader were not CrossTrade, I should be clearer here. CrossTrade was actually really good. I really liked CrossTrade. It was NinjaTrader that I don't like. NinjaTrader is what sucked. And NinjaTrader is why we're moving away from it. But, yeah, it's much more reliable. But I've built in a backup system where whenever a trade expires, it sends a signal to PickTrade to close all pending orders, just in case it hasn't removed it yet from the chart. That should fix it. So anyway, that's more just kind of like on the technical side in the back end that I work on. But yeah, so I'm going to be finalizing the numbers, crunching all the details, and just kind of picking some numbers here. And I have a feeling the new strategy is going to be when we get weeks where the market's just kind of ranging sideways like this. It didn't really go anywhere for days. Just went sideways, and we just started topping after what was an absolutely just phenomenal run. Because the last time stuff kind of struggled was here. This is what I mean. So when the market's kind of struggling for a bunch of days, this was the big red week in May. I added, and look, on the Friday we did the final sell-off. I bet you that was a news day. I bet you that was a news day. And the market just kind of struggled all through here. It got its news, and then it finally was able to start moving. That was the day I added the daily trailing stop loss feature, and it did really well ever since. And we've struggled here at the top. So when the market starts to go into a topping feature, topping structure, or possibly, into a daily cycle low, which only come around once every 2 months, this is what I'll be watching next on the next daily cycle, which is in, I think, like the third week of July. So for a while yet. But yeah, massive sell-off today. Look at that. But anyway, this points to me thinking that in times like this, at these like kind of topping structure where the market really slows down and it seems to kind of get stuck in like a purgatory state, waiting for news or waiting for an event of some kind, that might be the time for just, temporarily go over to fixed mode, which is, like I say, it's just that one button. You just go dink. That's it. That is it. That's all you have to change. Now, over time, over multiple weeks, over multiple months, the trailing mode is quite significantly better. You definitely want to be in that as like your default. However, if things are slowing down and things are getting choppy, and we kind of expect, for whatever reason, if we expect there to be a slow, choppy week, perhaps it could be a nice little solution for us. It's not a bad idea either way. Both modes work. Just the data prefers the trail. So anyway, looks like we're finally getting our sell-off, and we'll probably get a push up. Maybe we'll get a shoulder, and we'll get the head and shoulder pattern, and maybe we'll come back down to our 50% level, because we've still got this massive 232 tick volume gap here. Volume gaps are a massive deal for efficient markets and market maker targets. Market makers don't run your stops. They care about auction theory and efficient market dynamics. These volume gaps are prime targets for market makers, and it's a fucking huge one. It's a day opening gap. So it was a Thursday to a Friday, and the gap didn't close. It happens to be right above the 50%. So if we're coming down, how much do you want to bet we come down, fill out this volume gap, hit the 50%, maybe dip into the golden pocket, as people say. I don't really use it all that much, actually, but down here, and we clear out these weekly points of control, and this one, see how much confluence we've got building up here. And after a big move like this, my God, look at the candle. It's huge, dude. Look at that. One day we wiped out 2 weeks. That's kind of nuts, actually. That's really kind of nuts when you look at it. And just went straight through. Wow. Anyway, this could be our downside target coming up. And you know what? I'm here for it, because with a system like Delta Breaks, doesn't really matter. You let it do whatever it's going to do. And we'll clear out this gap. We'll clear out these imbalances down here. There's a bunch of confluence in this area, so we'll see what happens. But yeah, moving back over here. So where do we stand today? What's going to happen moving forward? This weekend, I will be putting out this update, because we are moving away from cross trade. We are moving to pick my trade. There is a link in the description. I have an affiliate code with them, and it's very, very easy. If you have Delta Breaks, this week I will send a message around to all the members saying, when I've recorded a few videos on how you set things up, it is super easy. You make an account with them, you add your main prop firm, and that's it. That's actually it. Everything else is handled in the indicator. It's quite an interesting website, actually, because they tell you, they create the code for you. So I've been making all the different variations of what my code would need with their system this week, and I've added it into the indicator. So the only things you need is your token, which it gives you in your account, in your dashboard. It's very simple. And the account you want to send things to. That's it. That's all you have to do. A little bit of setup in here, like if you're trading a 150k, you need to get rid of the M that's there. So you just delete that. And if you're on the 50Ks, you may need to change the contract size here and like change this to 2. Little details like that, but nothing significant. Everything else is going to be default. So without me rambling on forever and a day about all this sort of stuff, I do really think, I was starting to think it last night. I wasn't feeling very well yesterday, but I was wondering, has the market been waiting for this Friday news all week, and that's why we've had such a crappy week? The reason I thought it is because an old strategy that I no longer trade, I used to see this happen quite a bit, where if there's a significant news event, like a really pivotal interest rate decision or something like that, the market would just chop around and liquidity hunt and eat people up for days on end until we get the news, and only after the news we would see the moves. I think that's what we saw today, and I think that's why we suddenly got all our good results coming back today. So it's on my mind, it's on my mind. I'm keeping an eye on it, and I do think we have gained some very valuable information this week. So yeah, new update coming this coming week. Information for you guys. Like I said, it's actually a lot simpler than the old version, but I'll give you the information you need to set it up. The results are looking good. We're back in the green for June, so basically a break. Consider it a break-even week. That's what I'm thinking of it like. A break-even week now. So we'll start again next week. The new settings, right? We changed the settings. We lowered everything from May, because May proved that when things don't go our way, they can be a little bit too hot. We survived this week on these lower settings. If we were on the higher settings still, we might not have. We actually I might have blown one of my accounts. So, because I'm on the 50Ks, there's proportionally slightly less drawdown available to me. But you know what? As we're here, we're on the dev bench. We've already looked. You can pause and have a look at the actual results, but it's also on the dev bench results page, which is over here. So if you want to have a pause and just have a look through, because I know there's a lot of numbers on here. This is each session. You know, every single session is on here, right? You got New York, London, and Asia on, like, say Monday 8th of June, right? What the hell? That's not the right date. Ah, come on, bro. It's mixed my days up. I didn't even notice that. That's funny. Good old ChatGPT. All right, well, ignore those days. I'm going to have to get that sorted out. But today, Friday the 5th, not Monday, you got, for the 15-15 test, here were the results for each session. Here's the number of trades it took. Here's the 15 and 20 test, the one that seems to be shining the best. There's like summaries over here for each test. And yeah, I got to tell you, I didn't think 15 and 20 would actually be the best performer, but it is. In every metric, it's outperforming. And you can see here the weekly results as well. And yeah, it's messed up my week's win. Okay, well, you know what? The numbers are right, but the dates are slightly wrong. I'm going to have to fix that. I should have been a little bit more careful. But hey, you know, forgive me. I've not been feeling well the last couple of days. That's my excuse, and I'm going to stick with it. But anyway, the numbers are there if you want to have a look through. Going to keep an eye on this because it's very convenient if that's what we end up doing. But anyway, this isn't what I was even going to show you. I was going to show you the orb. Because even the orb managed to finish out green, and it was today that did it. Because I actually mentioned this to one of the members who was who asked about, you know, has anything changed with the system? I was like, no, this is just part of trading. It happens. The fact that the orb system was also really struggling this week, it was down a lot this week. It was just like another thing of telling me, it's like, yeah, this doesn't happen often, but I do see it every now and then. But look at ES. That's the crazy thing. NQ really struggled this week, but ES didn't. ES did amazing work. ES on its own did 6,000 with these settings, which is really hot settings. And by the way, I reran the numbers as well. The dual orb, running both side by side, significantly outperforms running just ES on its own. No matter how you size the risk, you're better off running it next to next to running words. You are better off running it side by side and trading both together, no matter what risk you do. And that's going back right to the start of the year. So yeah, this, you know what? It ends up a green week. This one was able to be saved on the Friday. All of our test results, they were all saved on today, Friday. Our main account, our main settings, all changed this week. And from next week, ever so slight tweaks to like the daily trail, where I've got that new feature where we can actually not trail the initial stage. I do think this is what I'll do. I might turn it off. I haven't honestly decided. I need to kind of recheck all my numbers and just make sure. But anyway, I'm starting to ramble now. I will do another video tomorrow, kind of going over this, and we'll look at the new version of the indicator in just a little bit more detail, really focus on it, and just kind of prep ourselves for next week. I'll show you my Pick My Trade account in the back end. I'll show you how easy it is to use, because it is super easy, guys. And some of the settings, like the max consistency for your account, that can be controlled considerably easier on Pick My Trade. You can just set these numbers and it will just do it for you. And you can run multiple accounts. You can run, it has its own copy trader in it. You do need a subscription per prop firm, but whatever prop firm you have, which includes Top Step for you Project X traders and Rhythmic, you just load it up, you just connect it, and it's simple as that. It really is. All you have to do is with your token and your account number. That's it. If you want to run different sizes on different accounts, say you have a mixture of accounts, say you have 50k account and a 150k account, you can do similar like I do in here, where I have multiple accounts all running. You can have one set of accounts, like here, look over here, right? You can have one set of 50k accounts over here and put in your master, whatever, pick your main master 50k account, and you can have your 150ks over here, just sized slightly differently. Just have a different account number in those. Very simple, very, very easy. So there we are, folks. I'm going to leave it there for today, because I've been yapping for like 30 odd minutes now at this point. And I admit, admittedly, I did miss yesterday's video because I wasn't feeling too great. But we managed to finish off the week with a nice, happy ending. It was a challenging week. It's difficult sitting in drawdown for days on end, but that's just part of being a trader. You have to learn to stomach these times and let your systems be what they're going to be. No system is perfect. You will lose an account from time to time. Like with any system, with delta breaks, with anything, from time to time, you will lose a system. And that's why I put so much effort into trying to fine-tune these details and these settings as best I can without over-optimizing in hindsight. Because it's all well and good looking back over the last 6 months and going, oh yes, it did this much, therefore this is the perfect number. No, that was the perfect number 6 months ago, but you didn't know it 6 months ago. We don't know what the perfect number is going to be over the next 6 months coming. So be cautious trying to over-optimize. Get something that you know is going to be solid, like the difference between trail and fixed. Don't try and over-optimize it. The difference is quite significant. I'll show you those details tomorrow when we go over tomorrow's video. But yeah, that's it for today, folks. If you're still watching this, man, props to you, because you're just listening to some guy yap on and way about this stuff. But hey ho, we pulled it off at the end of the week. We actually managed to end slightly green, which I think is quite funny. But there we are, folks. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you tomorrow for an in-depth dive into the new version. See you then.
Yeah, I was home like a battle cry. Circuit spark on the neon sky.